This is so cool. Whew. I'm sure we shouldn't be up here. Have you ever seen anything crispier? We're Jess and Miles. In 2019, we quit our jobs to pursue a dream of long-term travel around the world. After traveling for 6 months, we were brought back to the US due to COVID-19. We are now back on the road here in the United States. We drove over 1,400 miles from Georgia to Colorado and started our time out west with over 100 miles of hiking in the Rocky Mountains. We just finished exploring the Grand Tetons and Yellowstone National Park and then made our way to Idaho. We had a great week in Twin Falls, and our original plan for this weekend was to go backcountry camping in the Sawtooth Mountains. Unfortunately, the smoke is really bad right now because of the wildfires out west, so we switched gears on Friday. At first we tried to outrun it and we went north to Salmon, but it was just as bad there. So we ended up booking a great little cabin just outside of Elk Bend, and we have been enjoying a relaxing weekend so far, but we have a few fun things planned for today.
Apparently there are a ton of hot springs here in Idaho, and the Goldbug Hot Springs are just right here in Elk Bend. It's about a 4-mile hike round trip, and we're getting a pretty early start this morning right before sunrise in hopes to beat the crowds because this is one of the more popular hot springs. Also, it's August, so it's about the only time of day right now where getting in a hot spring makes sense to me.
I am so excited because this is as clear as it's been in 3 days. We got up a few days ago to watch sunrise in Twin Falls, and it was complete whiteout, and we have some color this morning. The first section of the trail was pretty steep with a few switchbacks, and then it really flattened out. I think we're coming up on the last section now, which is supposed to be the steepest part, but I believe the hot springs are just up that way.
There have been some really cool campsites along this creek. So far though, we've only passed one group of campers, so we're hoping there's not very many people up at the springs.
It is getting warmer.
This is beautiful. I will say though, after all this climbing, I'm kind of looking forward to a cold pool, not so much a hot pool.
We made it, and this is just as good as I was expecting. This is so cool. This is amazing. You have this cliffside hot spring that has created these natural infinity pools with these mountain views. I really don't see how it could get any better.
We've been fortunate enough to go to some really cool waterfalls and swim spots, and this one is very near the top of the list for me.
Yeah.
Most hot springs I've ever heard of have that sulfur, nasty smelling water that you just put up with because it's a hot spring. This water is crystal clear. It has zero odor to it. This is amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
And we're the only ones here. I think there's one group camping up at the top, but there's nobody anywhere in sight.
And the air is still really nice and crisp and cool. And this water is the perfect temperature. It's not too hot. We did read that the further up you go, the hotter it gets. So this is probably more like bath water, so it's very comfortable.
And the closer you get to the waterfalls that are feeding the pools, the warmer the water gets. So you can kind of choose how hot you want the pool to be. This is so cool. All right, we think that might have been the best pool out here, but we're still gonna check out some of the other ones. All right, one more pool before we call it a morning.
This one is just as hot as the one up above, but I think it's because there's so many waterfalls and the water is really hot coming off the waterfalls. I know Idaho has a lot of hot springs, and we do plan to see a few more over the next week or so, but I'm finding it hard to believe that we didn't just start with the best one.
There were a few groups that showed up after us, but there are plenty of pools, and at least this early it was still pretty easy to spread out. We just hopped around to several of the different pools. We probably hung out for a couple of hours. I'm really glad we started as early as we did, but it's time to head back because we've got a few more things we want to check out today.
Also, it is still a little bit hazy, but we have some blue skies today, and it's the first time in probably 5 or 6 days that the sun is out in full force and it's not just a red ball of haze. So we have to take full advantage of today.
So when we made the decision not to camp this weekend, we made a last-minute call to stay at the Twin Peaks Guest Ranch, which is just outside of Elk Bend here. It's a beautiful property, and there's actually an abandoned mine that's just a couple miles up the valley that we're gonna go check out now. All right, we're on foot from here, and based on the directions we were given, we're supposed to walk up the hill here, take, I think, our second left, and then when we get to the top of the hill, there should be a trail to the right that'll take us down to the mine. So hopefully we can find it.
Well, we never took a left anywhere, but we're coming up to something.
There's an old wood building up on the top of this hill, so we think we gotta go up there first. It's the coolest building so far.
This is called the Twin Peaks Mine, and we did look it up online, but we could find basically no information. But we talked to the guy who owns our place, and he told us that they used to mine all kinds of stuff here: silver, gold, copper, lead, and it was operational between the late 1800s and the early 1900s. And it got abandoned in the 1940s when all the men were called off to war and nobody ever came back. So it's just been sitting here ever since.
At this point, we have really no understanding from the directions we were given where we should go next. So we're just gonna follow the old rail line and see if it takes us anywhere interesting. It looks like this building over here to our right was where they used to wash all of the stuff coming out of the mine. So you can see where they had water coming in through the valley, but then there's also a rail line that looks like it goes further up the mountain. So here goes nothing. Well, we're trying to use the drone to figure out where the actual mine shaft is. We think we might have found it, but we really have no idea. But we at least found another building that we're gonna go check out. Well, this is not a hike you'll find in the Idaho guidebooks, and hopefully we're able to find the actual mine shaft, but this has been really cool even if we don't.
Have we earned any more waffle fries yet?
Hell yeah. Can we go there for lunch?
Yeah. We were gonna eat a peanut butter and jelly, but the Dusty Mule sounds much better.
I may have had 2 cheeseburgers yesterday, one for lunch and one for dinner. But I think I might have another cheeseburger for lunch today. Fantasizing about lunch at 10:30. It's 12:50? What the hell are we still doing climbing this mountain?
We found the trail to the right!
Jess has been holding out hope that there's one of those rail cars, like from Donkey Kong, that you can ride on the tracks with. I think that may not happen, but this is still really cool.
We found something.
It's not the actual mine shaft, but this has to be where the carts were sent further down the mountain. They've got these chutes here that would fill a cart with this awesome old school lever. It's jammed, so
yeah,
I can't play with it.
Maybe don't pull on that.
But old school little hatches to open up the top here and let stuff down in. I'm so glad we found this. Any gold in here? No. No gold. So cool.
I'm sure we shouldn't be up here.
Forever a rule follower.
Yeah, that's true. Idaho continues to amaze me. I mean, where else can you go to an incredible hot springs in the morning and then that afternoon go find an abandoned gold mine? What an awesome day.
Okay, so if you're in Elk Bend and you're coming to check out the Goldbug Hot Springs and you're looking for a little bit of an extra adventure, I highly recommend coming to the Twin Peaks Ranch. Maybe have lunch, better yet stay for the weekend, talk to the family that owns the place and ask if you can check out the mine up the hill. This has been so much fun.
My only disappointment is that we didn't see a rail cart, but there are waffle fries calling, and I must go. Have you ever seen anything crispier?
You can hear it.
Oh my God, it's perfection. I've never had a better waffle fry. Hands down. Also, I did not hike enough to justify this burger. It has a hamburger patty, ham, and bacon. I can't even fit it in my mouth.
Did you get any burger?
A little bit. Oh, and jalapenos. Smothered in jalapenos, of course.